And welcome back to Calvin's Corner. Today we're going to be playing Tanks 3D on Steam. I've saw that Tanks 3D was available through Steam, so I went ahead and made a purchase. And I did so mostly because I wanted to, one, get away from the commercials that you'd find when playing on Chrome through Crazy Games. But two, I also wanted to do some screenshots and some video capture. Unfortunately, Tanks 3D isn't set up with Steam to do that, and it might be because the game is browser based and can't utilize the Steam overlays. So unfortunately, all the videos that I would be doing will continue to be through OBS, or I will have to OBS plus YouTube. So yeah, it just is what it is. But since now I'm playing on Steam, I have to start all over with my account from level 0. So we'll walk through playing Tanks 3D with the level 0 account and talk through some of the steps that we can take in order to improve our position in the game. So starting off, if we escape out, we can show upgrades, and we are starting off with the medium tank, and as we go through and start killing other tanks and bots, we will start to gain levels. And then as we do that, we can choose other tanks and other weapons. So at the very beginning, we only have, oh, and it's getting loud in my ear with all the bombs, so I have to turn the volume down on my head. And so starting off, the only thing that we have are medium shells. There's no cost to do that. The digger and the builder. We can also equip a machine gun. We'll go ahead and do that. But that's going to cost us money, so we currently don't have any money because we're starting from scratch. And at the very bottom, we can reconfigure the position. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the when we get a little bit, an extra level, we can add on another weapon, and those numbers will correspond to each of the weapons that are shown here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit back, and I don't know if I have to respawn or not. We'll try to respawn and just click in the blinking areas. Unfortunately, we can't respawn at the moment because we have enemies around us. So when we die, we'll definitely get that upgraded weapon with a machine gun. Oh, no, the machine gun isn't there, so we're good. Okay, so we'll get started. And at the bottom right corner, we have the map. We have gold shown at the very top of 0, so we have to start killing other enemies to start getting some gold, and then we can actually start using that machine gun. Alright, so we have 1 gold, so just enough to shoot a few machine gun fires, but we'll get some more before we do that. If you look in the bottom right corner, there shows a graph with the reinforcements. It looks like the blue team is with the highest bar is the winning team right now. So they're the team to beat. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, come back in. Now, one of the things they don't show you is your actual level as you're playing the game. There's no notifications as to what your level is as you are playing the game until you go into the configuration menus. Okay, I'm getting turned around here. And the bottom right, once again, is a short view of, or small view of the map. If you hit the M on the keyboard, that will bring up the big view. And we basically currently at the moment have 4 teams, blue being the dominant team, controlling most of the map, and teal almost being dead. So I have a choice. I can either, since we only have 2 opposing teams next to us, either go for blue or go for teal. Going for blue might be not the best choice, because since they are doing so well, it might be more of a suicide mission. But we'll go this way, try to fend off blue. Give our team more of a fighting chance. And also in that mini map down at the bottom, you'll notice a bunch of pink circles. Those are our teammates, with the arrow being my tank. And while right before I got killed, it looked like we were the only tank over there. There was one other tank, but that tank ended up getting killed, so we ended up being by ourselves. We have mortar fire coming down on top of us. This is the tank that's shooting the mortars at us. Let's see if he's raining the mortars down on his position. Ah. Okay, and just hit escape. No, we can't do that yet, but we'll go ahead and step back in. We haven't got very many points. Let's take a quick look at the upgrades, and we are still at level 1, so we have not gone very far at all. So we have to do a lot more kills. So at this particular point, what we're going to do is, because we really need to level up to get more weapons. Blue is dominating. We're actually going to try to move over toward teal. Might have a better chance of making progress by focusing on the team that's doing worse than us. For the moment, at least, they're doing worse than us. Looks like they're actually starting to make a comeback. Yellow team has just been eliminated. All those team members, about 18, are going to get reabsorbed into the remaining teams. So just because your team dies doesn't mean that the game's over. And part of the trick of this game is, if you find yourself going after a enemy color and you're just completely getting annihilated, dying and respawning, going after them, dying, sometimes what you want to do is maybe focus on another team, because what ends up happening is that other team members may be focusing on moving in a different direction. So you could be in the back line of the attack. So if you're a good player, you can potentially hold the back line, but if not, you might want to focus on the front line where everybody else is going. And at this moment, it feels like everyone's from pink is more focusing on teal than they are focusing on blue. Now, if you look in the mini-map once again, the arrow and the pink squares, I basically have gotten into the enemy line, and I am now taking over their territory. And this is going to disrupt the enemy, because this is going to affect their ability to respawn. They won't be able to respawn close to the pink territory. So sometimes it's helpful to push into the enemy territory, take over the territory so it becomes your color. That will mess with their ability to respawn. And my teammates are finally catching up to me, so we have a solid pink for our territory up to where I'm at now. And I'm killing all the bot soldiers, and when I do, after all enemies have been killed in a particular square, then that territory becomes ours. And when it becomes ours, then the system will automatically spawn new bot tanks and bot soldiers to hold that territory. So it's not enough to simply just run into the enemy territory. You want to control it. And it's a soldier, that's one of their soldiers. And then the mini-map down at the bottom, it just turned pink because we had killed the last soldier. Playing these games will sometimes get a little bit intense. My hands will start sweating, so I actually have a little fan pointed at the keyboard to keep my hands calm. Now, I was always wondering if you ever got points for assistance. On the right below the ranking, it will tell you your give the kill feed, and sometimes it will tell you that you helped make a kill. And I never realized that we actually got some points for helping do the kill. So that's actually, even if you don't get the final hit, as long as the tank is destroyed, you will get some points. At least that's what I thought I saw. So if that's incorrect and you know that, just let me know how it actually works. And then the bottom. In the bottom right, we'll go ahead and spawn here. Taking a look at the reinforcement chart, looks like pink is really severely losing reinforcements. Now I think the reinforcements is based upon the number of times our players are killed. I'm not 100% certain how that is calculated. I think it's determined based upon the number of players you kill, players and bots, enemies you kill, versus the number of times that your team dies. So basically, kill as many as you can and die as little as you can. Alright, so we've been playing a little while. Only have about 325 gold, 350, just got a little bit more. Now this player right in front of us, ZID, Zid, he's got a smaller tank. This actually I think is the small tank, and it's faster. But it doesn't have as much armor, so it's easier to kill, but you do have to be able to hit him. As we talked about in the other video, The tanks that actually say tank, those are bots, not human players, but every once in a while you will see a human player that will use a bot name like tank or soldier to confuse the human players. And one way to know if it is actually a bot tank is all bot tanks are the medium-sized tanks. So if you see a builder tank, heavy tank, or small tank, and it says tank, it is actually a human player. And you want to be a little bit more cautious because human players are easier or harder to kill than bots are going to be a little bit more deadly. Now, since these games will last anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, and even more sometimes, some of the reasons why another team that was at one point on the brink of death can turn around and do really well is because a new player will join who is a very good player, and they can actually carry the team to recovery. But that also means that your teammates could leave at some point. So you could be doing really well, but you lose a team member who's helping carry the team, and then your team starts to fall. Now I'm back in the blue territory. Teal territory. Is this teal? Teal, yep. And sometimes it can be helpful to come around from behind, flank your enemy. They don't see you, and you can get them from behind. But it could also be very dangerous because you could be easily overwhelmed by the enemy's tanks. That is a human player because they're running. Bot tanks do not run. Okay. So we haven't died yet. We're low on reinforcements. And we're going to take a moment just real quickly, take a look at the map. Alright, so I don't want to keep going this way. I want to cut back because we're getting a little bit spread thin. Make sure that we completely annihilate all the bots so our territories can we're not leaving any holes. Oh, look at that. Teal's come on top and blue starting to diminish. And where pink is rising a little bit higher. Oh, I just realized I am in the top 5 now. Top 6. Okay. So in terms of weapons, my favorite weapons are the mortar and the merv. And basically, mortar kind of rains fire onto your enemies, a bunch of small bombs. And the MIRV is basically a bunch of missiles that basically is a shotgun blast of missiles, scatter blast of missiles. They're very expensive weapons, and you have to be a fairly high level to obtain that weapon. But now we do have a little bit of gold, and I switched over to the machine gun. And this is a fast-moving fire, but it's low, does low damage. And basically with the weapons, you have to figure out what you like. This is not my favorite. I have tried this weapon before to kill the soldiers, not the tanks, but the soldiers when I'm running through. But I just found that for the expense, it's just not one of my favorite weapons. And then also, nope, wrong button. The medium shells are free. And do more damage, so I just basically stick with that. My health is going down, so I'm going to hide behind the barrier here. We also have the building tool. Help create a barrier. Alright, I need to back out before I die, which I don't think I'm going to survive here in a moment. There, yep. I'm getting flanked. And there's a few pink allies around me. So it could be that the Teal team had taken most of them out, or that my allies have shifted to focus on blue. And now, there you go, looking at reinforcements. We're going to pause one moment. We'll take a quick look at our upgrades, see what we have. We have now gotten to level 3. So light shells are available. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out light shells for machine gun. And since I do have an extra space, I'll just put all of those in there. We won't get to the light tank until level 6, so I'm going to go back into the game. Continue on. So it looks like you can change weapons at any point during the game, but tanks you have to be in a safe place near one of your spawn points. Enemies can't be around, and then you have to respawn in to get the new tank. That's the MIRV, that weapon that's being shot at me, all those missiles. It's a very expensive weapon, but it's a very powerful weapon when you have a bunch of tanks coming in at you. There's also a single missile option that is less expensive than the MIRV. And it just shoots one missile at a time. I'm not quite sure what level you have to be to get that particular weapon. Now typically when you are attacking, you want to try to focus on a particular enemy until you completely annihilate them. Otherwise, if you're just hitting one here, hitting one there, you're giving them the chance to escape. It can also be helpful to pay attention to what your allies are doing and try to team up and get some crossfire onto the same enemy tank. Uh-oh, I've got one behind me. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, jump back in. I think we're going to stick with going after blue for the moment. So if you look in the center, you have your crosshairs, and every once in a while when you get hit, there'll be a red indicator telling you where the attack is coming from. So if the red indicator is at 12 o'clock, that means it's right in front of you. If it's at 6 o'clock, that means you're getting hit from behind, so you better turn around to figure out who's coming at you. And when I last died, I had 2 hits coming from behind, so I got flanked and I got annihilated fairly quickly. In a previous video, I had mentioned that when you die, you lose 10% of your points. So you'll never go down to 0, but you can quickly lose your rank from multiple deaths. I'm not quite sure what the point system is for when you do a kill. I know you get a little bit of points for killing the bot soldiers, and I'm not sure if the points you receive for kills is related to the rank of the enemy you kill. I haven't figured that one out, and there's no instructions that I'm aware of that explains that. Oh, yeah, two players on me set. Looking in the top 10, looks like blue only has 1 top 10 player, so that's bad news for them. You can still have a team that does well without any top 10 players. You could basically have players 11 through 20 being all in blue, and you would never know it. And pink could have simply 4 players in the top 10, and the rest of them are in the bottom tier. So even if you're not in the top 10, you still want to do your best to get kills and not die. Now these guys up here, they are building. You don't get any points for building, but when you build a tower, ice tower, you make it very difficult for your enemy to advance on you. You slow them down quite a bit. So it is actually a good strategy. It just might not get you to level up very fast or get you much gold. Oh, I got someone behind me, so oh, yeah, dead. Had a red coming down on me from the right. Okay. I said red, I was talking about the red indicator. Nope. Now part of the issue with builders is if you don't have enough people to help defend your tower, it can get overrun and then taken over by the enemy. So you can spend a lot of time building only for your efforts to be taken over by the enemy. And he's smoking, so he's completely dead. Sometimes it's difficult to tell if the enemy is completely dead or that one's dead. Usually if it's black smoke, they're completely dead, but sometimes that black smoke can be an indicator that you're just simply hurt. And I just like went into a swarm of them. Okay, so we have a lot of tanks working on building, so I'm going to contribute to this. The builder is a very small tank with very little health, and the light tank are the builder tank is the best for building, and the light tank is the second best. They're better because they can build quickly and climb more easily. The heavier the tank gets, the more difficult it is for it to build and to climb. Tank is using soldier as its name so if you can see the name of your enemy but not see who they are, you might think that they're a bot soldier, but it was actually a human player using a bot name. Then here's the tower that our players had just built, and now it's basically been taken over by the enemy. Oh, I'm stuck against the barrier, the gray end of the landscape. Rain of fire, this is the mortars from the enemy. Yeah. And blue has made a comeback. And pink hasn't moved much. And if you look in the bottom right corner at the mini-map, basically now pink has basically been consolidated over one spot, so we are getting squeezed in between blue and teal, and a strategy is to simply use mortars and all sorts of fire just to hit the respawn spot and basically kill us as we respawn, so they'll quickly eliminate us because we'll lose all of our reinforcements. So one strategy at this particular point might be to rush into enemy territory to disrupt their respawn. Unfortunately, it's difficult to do with a medium or heavy tank. I currently have the medium tank. It's just way too slow. You really want to have a light tank or a builder to do that, preferably a light tank. And I've died so many times recently, I am now in the... I've fallen out of the top 9. Okay, switching weapons. This is the light shell. Costs a little bit of money. It does less damage, but you're firing a lot more of them. So if you have an enemy that's on fire, a faster moving enemy, you might want to switch over to a light shell to more easily hit them. Ah, dead. Switch back over to the medium shell. And pink is almost completely annihilated. And pink army is now destroyed. There's a message saying that'll be moved over to the kill team once I die. Well, at this point, since I'm going over the teal team, I'm going to focus my attacks on blue. I don't want to be killed by teal, but at the same time, once I'm on the teal team, I will want to... I want for my new team to win, so... And there's 6 more. Kill him before I die. No, I'm surrounded. 3 hits from 3 different players. Alright, oh, and Till's on a very small window. We're going to take a look at upgrades, take a look at tanks. We are still only at level 5, so it just takes a while to get to the the higher levels. I can get a light tank here in just a bit. And then in terms of weapons, heavy shell, we'll get rid of the machine gun, add in the heavy shell, see what that can do, and jump back into the game. And with the heavy shell, it is a slower firing shell, but it is a little bit more expensive, but also does a lot more damage. So we'll switch over to the heavy shell. If you look at the top, it gives you the numbers for each of the shells. Tactical machine gun. Alright. And once again, when it comes to the weapons, you just have to figure out which weapon you like, try them out. I'm not a fan of the heavy shell, it's just the speed at which it fires is way too slow for me. I miss a lot, so it's helpful to be able to fire fast. This guy is maybe shooting down to survive. That is a strategy. If you have the diggers, to dig a hole, bury yourself until your tank can heal. That is sometimes an end-game strategy, is to try to be the last tank alive by digging a deep hole in the top of the mountain to make it hard for the enemies to get to you, so you're the last one that they have to kill. Until Armory is destroyed. Oh, surrounded. And dead. Alright, and once again, since you die, you get reabsorbed into another team, and now the blue army has won. So, yeah, we made it to level 6. We can get a light tank now, and weapons. Level 7 will give us the rocket V1. So, and then we can check out our end of the game. 48, 18 kills, 48 kills, 18 deaths. That was a lot of deaths, but that happens sometimes. Get squeezed in on both sides. You're gonna die quite a few times. So we'll quickly change tanks to the light tank and get back in there. We have to respawn. Oh, it's not going to let me respawn until I get to a safe place, so we're going to play with what we've got, and then once we die we'll respawn in as a light tank. We can take a look and see how that tank works out. Teal army coming in at us on one side, blue army on the other side. Have missiles being shot at us. Oh, and I'm dead. Got obliterated by Cheat Guy, #1 player. Currently. Okay, so we have light tank now. This is a faster moving tank. climbs and builds just a little bit faster than the medium tank. Player must have been AFK, away from the keyboard, disconnected. Okay. Picking out some players that appear to have not be at their keyboard. So once again, even though this light tank moves faster, it does have less health. So you do have to be more careful. And one of the strategies is, since it does move so fast, is always to be moving. This will make it difficult to shoot the enemy, but over time you get used to the dynamics of your movement, your tank's movement, the other enemy's movement, and you're able to hit a lot more times than miss. So part of the game is trying to predict where your opponent's going to go and land the bombs to the position you think they're going to be. So, which means don't be predictable. Oh wow, I just realized that we have blue pinned down. This is the point in which I would be using mortars if I actually had that weapon, dropping mortars onto the enemy position where they're respawning. It's a very devastating attack. There's also the MIRV or the cluster bomb, but at this particular point, it being level 6, level 7, we can only just shoot a bunch of shells at them. We'll go ahead and change it over to the light shell. Increase the speed of the attack. Still not a fan. Just become so accustomed to medium shells that all the other ones don't really feel quite as great. So we're going to go on top of this tower. I saw a blue enemy up here. Okay. Build our way back up. If you turn it around, it will build behind you. Oh, we're getting shot by soldiers. But sometimes it's easier to build your way up instead of climb your way up. Even though the light tank is a better climber, it's actually still faster to build. Alright, let's get to the top of this thing. And now I'll try to take this tower of blue guys out before I die. So this is kind of what I call an ice fortress. You have basically a bunch of walls in a circle, and instead of making a tower or a plateau, you can create a space where your bots will, or their bots will, get into the valleys, and then it makes it very difficult to take over the territory, because not only do you have to like climb, you have to go up and down to get all of the bots and enemy out of that territory. So it's actually a very good strategy to, when you do build, is to build valleys surrounded by walls. Too many of them. Instead of just a plateau tower. Wow. Okay. I've been focusing so much on blue, I didn't realize how well our team was doing against the other teams. I'm going to hit that map again. We basically have a connection to all teams right now. I'm going to get back on blue. And then also real quickly see where we're at on the upgrades. We're level 8. We have rockets, so we're going to get rid of heavy shells, and we're going to have the V1 rocket jump back in. Actually, let's just take a look, see the position, put that in the position I like, and jump back in. Here we go. Let's go ahead and put that rocket on. And it's basically a straight line attack. We'll go ahead and use that a few times over here. It's an extra expense, but it's basically just a different method of attack. Back in with that weapon. Whoa, what's that? hole someone built. And coming in from behind, I'm in blue territory now. I've got to be careful because my tank is not as strong. And I don't have any of my support team near me. Get on top. Back in yellow territory and come in from up top. So I am going to focus on, wait, well, no, there's an enemy. I was going to focus a little bit on the building. Got him. That was intense. Gotta get out of here. Need to build my way up. Sometimes shooting the wall that you're trying to climb will actually help you get up a little better. So I'm on top. I'm going to try to flatten this out. Bit of a knife edge. Ah, who got me? Soldier? Yeah. Gotta be careful. They're little, but if you don't have any health, they'll take you out. And before we get too far in there, let's see what other options we have. We get to the builder here soon. And it's got a few more levels. So leveling up, it takes a little time to level up to get all of the weapons, all the tanks. But, you know, once you play for probably about 5 hours and you do fairly well of taking out the enemy, you will eventually get all of the weapons, all the tanks, and then you don't even think about them anymore. So it's just something that happens at the very beginning when you have a new account. Unfortunately, sometimes I'm not quite sure how the information is saved into like Chrome, Edge, whatever browser you're playing on, but sometimes like the cache, I guess, maybe is deleted, history's deleted, and you basically have to start from scratch. Hopefully that's not the case with the Steam game. Since I have an account with Steam, hopefully this will be the last time I have to start from level 0. But this is what it's like playing the game from level 0. We've covered some of the weapons. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I'm going to play some more, and next time I come in, hopefully I'll have the rest of the weapons and we can talk about the rest: builder, heavy tank, and the remaining 4 weapons. So thanks for joining the stream and hope to see y'all again. Please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please add comments into the comments and let me know what I should cover next. What's helpful for you, how I can make improvements with the stream and feedback for these games. So thanks for joining. We'll see y'all next time.